Some senior party officials said to be open to Kamala Harris running again in 4 years. Politico asking the question, are Democrats coconut pilled? Where are you on this future?
Well, that was Fox News anchor Bill Hemmer throwing to Lindy Lee, who's the DNC Mid-Atlantic Regional Chair. Probably not for long, because she is about to devastate Kamala Harris.
This is not what America wants. November 5th was a decisive defeat for the Democratic Party. She lost every single swing state. It wasn't a squeaker like it was in 2016. This was a resounding defeat. And right now, Kamala Harris is indulging in delusions of running for governor of California possibly in 2026 or even president again in 2028. America has said this is not what we don't want to be coconut pilled. We do not want Kamala Harris. We don't want failed border policies. And I feel like I'm liberated and I can finally tell the truth that the Democrats completely failed on the border. Title 42 was a tremendous mistake, and no one is willing to say that. And you shouldn't be called bigoted or racist because you want strong borders for the United States. And you should be able to say that the economy was ailing under the Biden-Harris administration, that price hikes did indeed happen, but they denied that for the first 3 years of the administration. And when they finally did something, it was too late.
Now look, Lindy Lee is a bundler for the Democratic Party. She raised a lot of money for Kamala Harris's campaign, and she feels that she was lied to about how she was performing in the polling, lied to by the Harris campaign about the likelihood of beating Donald Trump. And so she's been making the media rounds, and you can tell that she is really soured on the Democratic Party. But someone who hasn't soured on the Democratic Party is Joy Behar, yet even she has some pretty harsh words for the Democratic Party and, more importantly, the Kamala Harris campaign. Take a look.
The thing the Democrats do that most politicians do, I think the Republicans did it back in the day with John McCain. It's like, it's your turn. Kamala's in position, it's her turn.
Yeah.
Joe Biden, he did not retire early enough so that there could be an open, what do they call it? Primary, exactly, thank you. That's a simple word, and yet there would have been an open primary. Yeah. We would have seen what was out there a little bit more. It's just as bad as what they're doing with Trump, which is this loyalty oath that everybody has to take and bow down and kiss his ring. Mm-hmm. It's not about who's the best person. It's about who do you feel is in the next in line to do the job with the Democrats and with the Republicans.
Obviously implying, and this would be a correct statement, that Kamala Harris was not the best person for the job or the best candidate to run against Trump. And look, finally, even Jill Biden is taking some shots at Kamala Harris. If you don't believe me, take a look at this.
So I hope that you all feel that sense of, peace and light, and that just for a moment when you leave here today that you feel, a sense of joy. Because I think we all need we all need to feel joy now during this time of the season, during this time. So anyway, okay, now I'll start. You're all reading into that.
Are we? Are we?
Yeah, so the rumors are that Jill Biden always hated Kamala Harris because of the one line in the debate back in 2020 in the primaries where she talked about how Joe Biden was in favor of segregation on buses back in the day, and that she never forgave her for that. Oh my God, Queen Biden, way to hold on to that grudge.
Right.
And hurt your own party in 1,000 different ways just because you're bitter. Anyway, so now, speaking of bitter though, I'm a little bit bitter about The View. Because when we said Biden was too old, they were like, how dare you, right? When we said there should be an open primary, they said, how dare you? When we said, hey, the Democrats are asking for loyalty oaths and we're not supposed to be the authoritarian party, we're supposed to be more open, they're like, how dare you? Now all of a sudden The View is like, oh my God, you know what? Why didn't anybody tell us Biden was too old?
Yeah, they'll go back to the loyalty oaths, believe me.
Of course,
they will.
The View is the masters of loyalty oaths. If you don't pledge for whoever is the establishment corporate robot, they'll take your head off on The View. So, Joy, I appreciate your new opinion, but it's very, very different than your old opinion, which is like a minute ago, and it dramatically different. By the way, there's one thing I disagree here. I think Kamala Harris will probably win in a cakewalk for governor.
No!
Okay.
No! What are you doing? What are you doing?
No, I'm telling you the reality, whether you like it or not.
What are you doing?
Democratic voters in California love to obey. And so,
oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. I'm gonna move, Cenk. I'm gonna quit my job. I'm gonna quit my job and I'm gonna move.
I'm not saying I'm in favor of it. I'm telling you what's, like, if the Democratic Party said, we anoint Kamala Harris, a giant percentage of Democrats in California would go, yes, we obey. We will take the loyalty oath. It doesn't matter how bad she is.
This state cannot survive another incompetent Democrat leading it.
Leading it. Democrat like Kamala.
No, we just can't. Okay, like, anyway, so like people are egging her on. Okay, apparently she's like in a wait and see mode. How about you wait and see like your way out of public life and go do what you're supposed to do. Go work in the private sector, go do the lobbying thing, whatever it is, but do not run as governor of California. Yeah. Do not.
So look, here's the thing that they still won't say that is definitely true, which is that she was a disaster. She was a terrible candidate, but it's still to this day with all their little, oh, golly gee, I wish somebody would have told us, right? But they're not saying the core thing, which is she was a talking robot and she could not answer normal questions like a human being. She had her scripts ready and she would just take the script, her talking points, and match it to any question that you asked her. It was Sarah Palin-esque. Yes, I said it, and yes, she definitely deserved it. And no, we should want no part of her for any campaign at all, okay? And I don't know what coconut pilled means. That's a thing that people made up that doesn't even make any goddamn sense. Okay, and finally on Linda Lee, the person say, so look, she's more conservative than I am, way more, and she's more from the donor class, etc. But at the same time, we don't have to drive everybody out of the party, right? So she has a different opinion on immigration, so what, right? And it turns out that was the majority opinion in America, even though portions of it that I might not agree with. But I brought her up because she said a word that a lot of people are feeling. She said, I feel liberated. And that's because the establishment in the Democratic Party is so oppressive that if you disagree 1% in either direction or any direction, they'll take your head off. And then after the election, pretending as if they're open-minded is just garbage. The next time they'll do the same exact thing and they'll demand your obedience and compliance with probably the very worst candidate.
Please don't run for California. Please, please, I'm begging you. Like, the Washington Post reports that as soon as she lost to Trump on November 5th, some Harris supporters seized on the idea of a gubernatorial run, including wealthy donors. God, these wealthy donors are gonna be the death of me. Eager to see her take a leadership role in such a powerful post. Quote,
what leadership? She showed no leadership when she ran for president.
Leadership, but she
Oh, here's my positions on price gouging. Oh, never mind. Mark Cuban and the donors say that I shouldn't have those positions, so I don't have those positions. Oh, I love the Palestinians, but I'm going to crush them.
Let me please finish this graphic because, of course, it's always the same people. The people that drove the conversation within 18 minutes of the election being called was the finance team.
Of course.
She took $1 billion that was donated to her and not only spent it on nonsense in the span of 3 months, her campaign went into debt. You want her running the budget in California? This is nuts. Okay, I mean.
Well, look, guys, there's two things. One, unfortunately, the Democratic leadership has gotten so used to being authoritarian that they think, well, of course, the dear leaders must always be promoted. And they should be around forever and ever until they're all 98 years old and we're wheeling them around, okay? So they can't stand the idea of someone new rising up and someone that would actually represent the voters. But that leads to point number two. Why stick with Kamala Harris when she was a broken robot? Why don't you go get a new and improved robot like Pete Buttigieg's corporate robot 2.0, right? And that's what they'll do at the presidential level. But why bother running her for governor? Because the finance team represents the donors, and the donors don't want someone smart and independent. They want someone just like Kamala Harris, so that they could say, oh, you're an empty vessel and you'll say anything we want? Okay, yeah, perfect, come here. We want to run California So come on, empty vessel, let's go. And besides which, we've trained Democratic voters to obey the donor class. So if we just tell them that you're the anointed one, they will all obey. And if anyone dares running against you, we'll just smear the hell out of them. Like, oh, Katie Porter, you want to run? We'll just smear you, right?
Yeah.
Any progressive or any populist or anyone wants to run, we'll just smear them with all the money that we have. And by the way, and the media that we have, who's totally in our back pocket.
Yeah, Katie Porter would be great. Great suggestion, even though you didn't really suggest it. But like, look, I'm sorry. Right now, the Golden State is cooked. So like the idea of more of the same, and I do see Kamala Harris as more of the same. Like she's just the female version of Gavin Newsom. Disaster. Except Gavin Newsom at least can speak, right? That's the thing. Like he's a snake and is able to be a snake because he carries himself well in these public appearances. But in terms of substance, no, we need real leadership in California. It's falling apart. I'm sorry. Anyway.
Yeah, of course. And they're not going to do that. They're always going to go to the corrupt. And if you don't get that Kamala Harris is corrupt and incompetent by now, I mean, we're just going to have those same old fights. And then we'll see you guys in the primary in 2028. And you'll have Morning Joe and The View on your side. And they'll all be screaming to obey. And we'll see who wins. We'll see who wins. But there's no way we're letting Kamala Harris run again. That's insane. Oh, she could run all she wants. She's not going to win, okay? You'd have to have a coconut fall on your head for you to think that that was a smart idea. If you enjoyed this video, that's because of our members. They make us independent, they make us strong, and they make us honest. Become a member today by hitting the join button below.